family. This is Deep Breaths, and I'm your host, Shophar. And today I have my first guest on Deep Breaths, the one who made room for all of this, Kirti. And so I'm looking present to sharing her with you and sharing Deep Breaths with you. It's a new format on Full Show Energy Work, Full Show Health that we're doing with Deep Breaths. And the focus of it is going to be using our acronym that we use with ourselves and with clients and everything is vibe, voice, introspection, breath, and embodiment. So during the show, so if you're listening to this, this is the type show that we're going to ask for your participation. And so if you can watch this show and listen to this show when you're in a place where you can really tune in, really feel what we're saying, that's really what it's going to separate, and what we're really trying to get across with this, the messaging of this show. And so we'd love for you to be able to hear us, but even better, we'd love for you to be able to see us and feel us. Take a moment to be able to. So if you need to do this a little later, come back to us. What we're going to be doing in this is we're going to be doing during the show at certain key points within the flow of the show. We're going to do some Qigong, which is Chinese for inner discipline or inner work. And then we're going to close out the show with some Qigong. And again, to change our vibration, you change your vibe, your voice, your introspection, breath, and embodiment. So with that, our first guest today, again, is Kirti. And we really what I want to do is really help people know what a dope and powerful person you are. That's why, I want to have you as the first guest. You've made room for this and so many of my different creative, things that I have out there. And what I want to do is highlight you in here, get a chance for the family out there to hear you and to also feel who you are. So what we're going to do is talk about some of your different offerings, some of the different things that you do, and then speak into existence, because I know that's something that all of us on this planet, this plane right now, we need to do, is to speak even more, because we're at a crossroads as the human family that we are. We're at a crossroads to this thing. Is the coin is not heads or tails. It hasn't been called yet. And we need to collectively give birth to something new. Right? Yeah. So with that, our first Qigong of the day, before we go ahead and start Kirti off and get to start feeling and hearing from her, I want you to take your inner awareness, your introspection. So look inward right now. And maybe you can, like we're looking into the camera, breathe in. And then on your out breath, slowly allow your eyes to close, like the sun setting. Don't just close them, slowly. Good. And what we're going to do is activate a couple of points with our mind. Again, Qigong, moving the energy with our minds, our awareness. Let's tune in to the bottoms of our feet, Yang Quan, the bubbling spring, kidney 1, breathing in. And out. In. And out. One more. In. And out. And then we'll do one more point here. I want you to bring your awareness up your body. So let's breathe in, bringing your awareness, like feel the energy going up from your feet, up your shins, your knees. Keep breathing in. Bring it up your stomach, your abdomen, up to your breast and chest area. Breathe in and out. And let's do a couple more breaths in the chest and breast area. Breathe in and out. And last one, breathe in, focusing on the breast and chest, and out. Good. Breathe in one more time. And on the out breath, slowly open your eyes. Imagine the sun rising slowly. Good. So another welcome to Deep Breaths and welcome, Kirti. So first thing I want to do, my love, is have you speak about DilSe, DilSe culture. When I first met you and when you told me what DilSe was and that was the name of your business and why you had named it that and everything. So I want to speak a little bit because I feel like DilSe, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, DilSe kind of makes room for all your other creations because it's, you know, so tell us what DilSe is and why you named your business that. And
well, DilSe culture means from the heart, and it actually came from being around lots of different artistic cultures and vibes when I was in New York. And there's like hip hop culture, Indian culture, American culture. And for me, I just kept wanting to look for the through line between it all and look for good people in each of those cultures and connect with those people. So I kept finding no matter what path I chose, whether it be an activist path, a revolutionary path, and a community organizer, an artist, whether I was in the classical Indian dance community or if I was with a hip hop community, there was always this dynamic of egoic leadership or that compromise.
Wow.
And so I just was like, man, I want heart-based culture. Yeah, that's a little bit more universal. And yeah, so it just came from lots of different experiences and what I realized was missing. Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Well, so what I hear you saying there is that after going through many different ways that human beings that we're trying to express ourselves and to do good, but it still kept coming back to the ego.
Yeah.
Wow. Interesting. And so that's where DilSe culture was birthed from.
Yeah.
It's from the need or the want, the desire to have a heart-based leadership.
Yeah. And when I first started it, the whole idea, the basis of everything was dance. And DilSe, you know, it's interesting. The year after, or very close, a movie came out called DilSe as well, a Bollywood movie. So it kind of just worked well with it. I just went with it. But DilSe, you know, and also being Hindi is just to honor, you know, my mother tongue. And so that's why I chose those two words.
I love it. I love it. Wow. Okay. So I think that's one place right there. Like we can send out that vibration. So again, we ask for your participation in this show. So deep breaths. What we want to do here is some qigong. We're going to do some standing to close out things, but here just seated. Let's breathe in, and you bring your hands up. We can scoot out a little bit here. We're going to breathe in and bring in our hands up to our breast and chest area. Breathe in, and then push out. Let's do two more like that. Breathe in. And on the out breath, the sound is. All right. And on this last one, Kirti, I want you to tell us something about DilSe culture on the out breath, something that you're speaking into existence about DilSe. Give it to us.
Love.
Love. So it is. Very cool. So we send that DilSe from the heart, love throughout time and space for the whole human being family here. So you mentioned something really powerful too about, and come back close to me. You can move again when we do the qigong. So you mentioned something really important that it started off with dance for you.
Yeah.
And I heard recently an elder recently talking about, I think it was the Hopi tribe, or no, it might have been the Mayans, but some ancient culture that the glyph that they found, you know, they had different glyphs about this time period that we're in right now. And some people look at it as like an ominous time, you know, bad omens or whatever. But the glyph that they found, I think it was the Mayan culture for this moment that we're in right now, was movement.
Oh, cool.
Movement. And people were like, well, what does that mean? We don't know.
Yeah.
But I know the name of one of your business, one of the things that you do, powerful work that you do with other womb beings, is called movement medicine. Tell people about movement medicine, please.
Well, movement medicine is a practice where women get together and we're in a park. So it's a public space. And we just practice different nature-based movements and different patterns. And put them together and do them together, do them separate, and start to expand and contract in different geometric formations in nature. And then we also have live drumming, as well as a global playlist of like different music that invokes that nature medicine as well. And then drummers that play along with that. And then we are also moving. So we just slowly build such a strong momentum. And then we end with kind of a moment to heal. So each woman has an opportunity to put together whatever we kind of learned and practiced, and then tell a story of whatever they either are coming out of or what they're creating. And we make sure to take time to build the safety so that women can feel free to heal through their body. It's a different type of healing and creating.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really amazing. It's grown to be something really beautiful.
Well, and just so you know, family, I've been one of the few men that have been able and allowed, I've been honored to be in those circles, and it is very powerful. And I know that I've been with you in different workshops that, movement medicine has changed my life. And I can speak to that, like how I'm able to be more embodied or embodied, and everything, and have my awareness system different. So definitely appreciative to that. And I heard you say about healing womb beings, healing women.
Yeah.
Can you speak to that even more a little bit? Because I know that is important work. And one of the things that endeared me very much when I met you is that you said that you had a focus of wanting to focus on healing the First Nation and Black, wombs. And with your journey as a first generation, the daughter of immigrants, why do you find it important to honor the womb beings, the womb of First Nation and Black on this land, on the soil of the U.S.?
Well, it feels imperative, growing up here and just navigating the different walks of life. You get cued into, I guess the root of our current situation. And I think anybody who chooses to integrate and really connect with the land that they're on is responsible to understand the land that they're on and make sure that we're not just benefiting or reaping something that we haven't had generations or history here working for. So for me, I realized that my family really wouldn't be here if it wasn't for, indigenous nations, as well as, so much of the Black history that's happened. So I think that for me, naturally, it's a privilege to be here and to have had the rights that I had and that my family had. Sure. And also my family has had struggles of their own being immigrants. And I have my own unique stories being first generation. And still, as I work through my things, I realize that in order for all of us to get free as a people, there's just a lot of work to be done in that area, And I think that the more that we can connect with one another again, and it's become so separated, we might be able to actually learn from each other's ancient cultures. I think that's why we're all here in America, North America at this time. I mean, look at what a unique mix we are. We're so young, and compared to many other countries in the world, we're pretty young, and we are descendants of those who were willing to try for something new and different. And we're also a combination of those who had no choice and made it through a really tough, arduous, horrid passage, and somehow still made it through to where we see beautiful children and descendants of all those lineages, you know, and all that beautiful mixing that has also happened between all the cultures. I feel that we're a unique mix here, you know, on this land, and we owe it to honor, you know, those who allowed it to be so.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's powerful. I feel like that's another deep breath moment, you know, moment. So going back to our Qigong in the beginning, we'll do it with our eyes open this time, but bringing your awareness, using your inner discipline, your introspection. And we have 3 eyes there: the introspection, your left eye being the imagination, the right eye being the intention. So let's set, using our imagination right now, bringing our awareness down to the bottoms of our feet again, Yang Quan or Kidney 1. So breathing in. And on the out breath, imagine roots going down, being rooted into this Mother Earth. Whatever continent you're on, we're still on the same plane. Good. Let's do 2 more like that. Breathing in. Sending those roots down in there on the out breath. Rooted in healing the womb, the collective feminine of all of us. 1 more. And out. Good. And, you know, what you said there, Kirti, is really powerful because you talked about this, basically this marketplace, you know, that I know that's how Ifa, the Yoruba people, they talk about this being a marketplace. This reality is a marketplace where we share our different things. And I think America or more Rico, you know, is this perfect, beautiful place that we are all here sharing the good, the bad, the ugly, the lovely of our cultures, right? And I love also that you talked about healing from a collective standpoint. It's kind of like our organs. Like we may need to at certain times in life, like that's what we do with Qigong. You know, you focus on different organs. One may not be functioning at the capacity of the others. So you have to focus some. So I love that you said that from the standpoint of the collective. And I love that you honor your mother tongue and your mother culture. So I want to get you to speak to that, because I know that's also deep to your heart, is your culture being respected in this land. And I want it to be a nice, loving, but I know you have a lot of heat, heart. The word heart has the word heat in it, right? You have some heat when you see some things about the culture, you know, the Hindu culture and the yoga, the asanas, the Ayurveda, these different beautiful things that have come through, being misrepresented and misused. So I want you to speak to that a little bit.
Yeah. I think it's common for probably many people can relate. If you just think about a song that you love so much when it first comes out, and then it gets overplayed on the radio, and you just don't want to hear it. You just don't want to hear it anymore. You know, it gets to kind of just feel. I think for me, the moment it became very real was when I went to a yoga class and felt like I didn't belong. And that's when I was like, this is strange. This is awkward. And it was like I finally ventured out of like my teacher's studio and attended a public yoga class and didn't feel comfortable. And I've been to other yoga classes. It's not that it's always that way. However, you know, I noticed a common theme, in certain areas that it started to feel that way. And then as I started teaching yoga to start to bring in some, work that is a little bit more diverse than what is traditionally, I guess, accessible for the Western mind, and then being, looked at or treated as if I didn't know what I was talking about. So that was also really tough. People not knowing now always that yoga comes from India, right?
I have heard that, yeah.
Yeah. The constant mispronunciation of words that then becomes an English or like a slang or a lingo way of saying things. So that's tough too. And I know that
like the word chakra, but it's chakra.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I know it happens to many cultures. I know that South Asian is not the only culture that happens to. And there's this piece that I also feel that when we really appreciate a culture outside of maybe the skin form that you're born into in this lifetime, I do think it may be a hint at perhaps a past life that those who are really drawn to, certain ancient civilizations and ancient cultures. I mean, truly, if they are ancient, it means that we've probably lived many lives. We've probably all been, in an ancient lifetime and experienced some of those things. So I think that that's why we have an interest towards them. So that's beautiful. And that calling should never be questioned. And it should always be honored because there's usually a message there. I do believe that. And I think that certain people are born into different skiniforms in order to have a certain experience, and they might be called to a culture or a practice or a belief that will have them almost have to have a hero's journey of sorts, where they're going to have to like leave their tribe or really stand up for themselves and choose a path and do something. So I do think that that's all very much in a divine karmic plan. And in that, still, I love hip hop. And I also own that I'm not going to say the N-word. It's just something that doesn't feel right. It's not, it might be culturally accepted for certain rappers and MCs, right? But for me, it's like, oh, that's inappropriate. So in the same way, certain things, like when they're done with yoga, like, wine tasting or beer or naked yoga that is like public classes that are for or certain spiritual things that are for money, where a practice has been just almost expanded and it's been allowed to expand for corporate and economic gain. And I think that that's the part where the appropriation starts to feel sticky. It's like, oh, but you're like making your whole life, career, and everything off of a cultural practice that's outside of your own and making money off of it without supporting somehow that culture in some way. Yeah. So
what I hear you saying is it takes away some of the potency of a thing. It's like, it's like chopping down, like in the hood or something, like how they would take, the drugs and they would mix baking soda in it, and you're taking away the potency of it.
Well, I mean, yeah, and I'm honestly what I noticed the most in, helping people with their yogic practice, become teachers, teaching yoga philosophy, and having students who have learned yoga here in the United States. And I also learned yoga here in the United States, but I also had an Indian teacher for classical Indian dance. Much of our training is very yogic. And then also in India, I was able to study with a yoga teacher there too. So I got to experienced lots of different practices. And something that I notice here a lot of times with students is, and when you're studying something that's outside of your skinoform, your born culture, right? Your ancestral line of this lifetime. Sometimes we're almost like forced and called to be very disciplined and rote and rigid because we actually don't want to disrespect, right? Like we don't want to dishonor and disrespect, so we stay really in the lines of it. However, in the essence of spiritual practice, that's not the way we do it. So that really does come from spending enough time and being involved in the details of a culture to the point where you will see, definitely, I've met plenty of non-South Asian folks who have really committed to the practice, and it is a different type of, it's marinated, it's like, so that what you're saying, that potency does make sense. And also when it's marinated and when you really understand so many of the details of the practices and the people and the culture from which it comes from, right? So that's the other piece, is like to study something, a religion, from a place and not know the people, because so much of yoga and Ayurveda and all of the things that we do is so much a part of just our culture and our people. So it's also something to consider, like if you enjoy it, you should get to know the culture and the people that it comes from, and marinate and see what it's like to learn the spice and create your sauce with their spice and then marinate in that, and it takes time. And then when you really are able to do that, then you can start to really freestyle and improvise and develop a spiritual path and a journey from all of this work. Otherwise, it just becomes like you're just teaching, you're teaching the same. Oh, it's like the metaphor that comes to mind is, in college, the teacher would just reproduce the syllabus. And that's just not what this work is.
So there's an invitation that if you put in your time to then bring your own unique flavor into it.
Yeah, that's definitely saying, my invitation.
Yeah. And I mean, as far as how you see it.
That's what I believe. That's where I believe the Amrita is.
Well, you said something very early on when we first met. I've been 6.5 years out there, almost going on 7. And you said something very potent and that always stood out to me. It was like, know the box so that you can get out the box. But know the angles and learn the form, learn the way that you can honor. If you're not from the culture, learn. And then you can start, your uniqueness will start to come out
naturally.
But what I hear you saying, and what I do see, I've seen it too, and not just with yoga, but with many different, again, this marketplace, as we're sharing all these different things, is like the groundwork, the roots sometimes are not put in, and people just, they get inspired. We go to a class and, the Qigong class or the Tai Chi, the yoga, Yoruba, Ifa speaks to us, right? And we want to hop out and put our own spin on it right away. That's what you're saying, not to do that. Don't do that. Take your time, get to know the culture.
Think about it in any other way. If you were to meet somebody and all of a sudden you get married and you take on each other's everything, it's too quick, too fast, right? Like, take your time, get to know each other, see if this really, and for me as a dancer who, like to study Afro-Brazilian and West African and Afro-Cuban, you have to learn the rhythms, you've got to learn the songs, you've got to be able to know the stories and know when to do certain dances and certain dance moves. And what's powerful is there's a through line there where a lot of the stories do overlap. However, that takes time to learn, and it also takes time to embody. Like when you have learned the story, and especially if it's not a culture that you were born from and it's not your ancestral line of this lifetime, you have to marinate so deeply to tap into that place where we are all like of nature. But it's like all these different creeks and rivers and paths and just all these different ways. But you've got to, you know, in order for your ancestral line to kind of connect its path to the whatever you're studying. And so what I would say is that another big part of the work is you've got to know your ancestral line before you like step into studying outside. Like know your own, what you are bringing in and what you are here to heal, who you come from, who you're, what is your story? What are the stories that you're bringing in? And also that's going to help us do the work of any ancestral baggage, wounding, things that could be in the air, epigenetic type occurrences and possibilities.
Wow. So much good stuff there.
Yeah.
As you said, the invitation for us to get back to nature, because if you get back to your roots of because everybody has indigenous in them, one way or the other, no matter you're from Europe, you're from Africa, you're from the First Nations. I've heard people say that, you know, this land is very ancient, you know, that there's been civilizations that have come and gone that we don't even know of, you know, like, I mean, it's myths now at this point. We don't even know, but maybe. With all that being said, I love what you're saying. Getting back to the through line is getting back to the roots of what your people, the ancients of your time, your people of your land did. It's kind of like getting to know, if we're coming back to nature, getting to know the rivers. Like here's the Mississippi, South America is the Amazon, right? How you say, is it Gunga?
Yes.
The Gunga. You know, the Yangtze in China, the Nile in you know, and the Rhine in Germany. Like, what is the bodies of water that go through your land, and what did your people do around it? Because a lot of time, why I'm saying that is because rivers were places of life. That's why the Nile Valley and stuff, like we grew around these things. There's information there for us.
That's right.
You know, and this is where these practices come from.
That's right.
You know.
And I think if anybody goes deep into their ancestral line, if they're being called to Tantra, if they're being called to...
Wait, how you say it?
Tantra.
Tantra?
Yeah.
I love it. So I know how to say it now, but when I first met her, I was saying Tantra and
Tantra.
It's Tantra.
Yeah, Tantra, mantra, yantra. And I think if you're being called to these types of things, Ifa, if you're being called to different types of practices that do ask in and call in spirits of nature, right, based elements, and you feel that, I think that it's a very good sign that if you were to study your ancestral line, you'll see that your people were doing the same thing, and somebody along there was, you know, scolded, punished, perhaps even their life was taken, burned, stoned. And many of us who are called to these types of work, where we're willing to lean into that which is keeping us from feeling joy, and we're like willing to lean into that unknown place of like, hey, I don't know what I don't know. Show me what I don't know. I feel that we're being called to do that, because there's probably, you're not the first one. However, you could be the last.
Ooh.
You know.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah.
Bar, son.
You could be the last.
So another deep breath moment here. You know, I'm feeling that right now. Let's breathe in. Let's go back to our Qigong again. We'll do it again with our eyes open this time, but let's bring it again to the breast and chest area with your awareness. Breathing in, feeling our ancestors here. I feel a lot of ancestral energy with that, what you were saying. And out. Focusing on the breast and chest area, the nipple area. In. Feeling what she said, and out. And on this last one, Kirti, on the out breath, if anything you want to say on the out breath, speaking into existence.
Respect.
Mm, respect.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm. Love that. Huh, respect. So one of my favorite, DilSe, brothers,
Mm-hmm.
teachers, sage, Osho,
Yeah.
Rajneesh. He said something really dope. He said the word respect means to relook,
Mm.
respect,
Yeah.
respectacle, respectrum, relook again, look again.
Yeah.
Like, so when we, to really have respect for one another or to respect ourselves and then the other, it means to take another look,
Mm-hmm.
look a little deeper,
Mm.
look a little deeper. So I love that. Uh, and you have so many offerings, so many things and everything. I could keep you up all night with all the things, but I want to touch on maybe two more things here.
Okay.
Arousing the goddess. Now I know that's not one that you're really working with right now, but the reason why I say arousing the goddess, because you talked about the ancestors just now, and the Dasamahavidya, the two of those together.
Mm-hmm.
Why arouse the goddess, and what is the Dasamahavidya?
Okay.
Yeah.
So arousing the goddess was actually an idea around how can we help women reignite the desire for themselves.
Ooh, not for a man, not
Yeah.
for a kid or husband. What for? Who?
For themselves. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. What a concept.
What a concept. Yeah. And then developing the relationship with the other.
Mm.
And the truth is that if we can all do that together, it's really just us truly being ourselves in relating, instead of it following any kind of program or code, but really being in relationship from certain agreements that feel, aligned and supportive of each person fulfilling and serving their purpose on this planet.
Wow.
A lot of times relationship can feel like you've got to give up certain parts of yourself.
For sure.
And then there's so much time being taken to reclaim those pieces, right?
Mm.
So the idea is that if we can practice self-sourcing and remembering that, like, we ultimately, everything comes from here, then we actually can begin to find all of the things that we're looking for in relationship. We can actually find so much of that here.
Mm. Mm-hmm. Powerful.
I mean, and I'm also saying that from the perspective of a woman in relationship doing this practice.
Sure.
But I think that no matter which position that you're in, whether you're in relating or not relating, it serves you to serve yourself in this way.
Wow.
Yeah. So arousing the goddess is about being willing to understand your different expressions as a woman, your different emotional expressions. And if we were working with men, it would be around understanding your different emotional expressions as a man.
Mm-hmm. So, and then those different emotions,
right?
That's the Dasamahavidya, right?
Right.
Okay. Can you explain
the Dasamahavidya are the emotions of how how emotion shows up.
Ooh, okay.
That's the Dasamahavidya. There are these 9 flavors of emotion that are expressed, that come through, that are expressed, that are channeled.
Okay.
Right. So those 9 expressions can be, they have the flavors of emotion, like love and joy and wonder, disgust, peace. There's also like fear is one too, right? So all of those emotions are represented through Kali, and the Dasamahavidya are the 9 versions, like Kali in her 9 forms. It's just that there's one form that's always been advertised. It's the most marketable form, to also, I feel like, demonize kind of like women or demonize men who who express whether any extreme form of expression. In many ancient cultures and traditions, there are so many practices to channel and respect those expressions. And I think somewhere along the line, this was shaped and molded in a way so that we didn't really we just dealt with like the enraged Kali that like looks so crazy, but the truth is like, she is the most loving force as well, because yeah, I mean, she's the most loving force because she's also she's that mother, like that protector that will show up to show you that like you're following a program that's not serving you. That's what Kali is here to do.
That's why she cuts off the head.
That role oftentimes represents the ego, or it can represent. Oftentimes, people will say, you know, the patriarchy, but the truth is that the reason why oftentimes you'll see a man represented in a lot of Kali imagery too is that it represents the human in the physical form, and the human in the physical form is created by semen, which is provided by the man. So oftentimes we'll see things written in he, and we'll also see things where it's a man represented to show that like this is a part of human existence. And the goddesses and the emotion of man is represented as the goddess. But that's not like a woman against a man. It's really just the man's emotions versus himself. And if it's a woman doing the practice, the man is the representation of us in our physical form. And the goddess is for a woman to remember that we have access to that, right? Because a woman in a female body who has access to the feminine is a goddess. A male born in a male's body that has access to the masculine energy is a god. That's kind of how it works. However, a female has access to her masculine energy in it, and a male has access to his female energy. It's just more dominant based on your genitalia. Yeah,
you often say that Tantra is very trans.
Very trans.
In fact, it has the word
trans in it.
Yeah.
Which is change.
Yeah. Wow.
Transformation. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tantra is all about non-duality and non-binary.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love that. The coin is spinning, like I said in the beginning.
However, it's very clear around this idea that we always, the belief is that there is enough for everyone and everyone is accepted. And we have to ask ourselves the question, why have we created a world where people cannot be loved as they were born and as they are? And what do we have to do? It's okay and it's beautiful. And what do we have to do as humans to make sure that we are as kind as possible to all expressions, so that we are not risking lives under the knives, whether it be for any kind of outward expression and approval. Like, what are we doing that people are not feeling enough love to love themselves? So that's what this, embody the goddess, arousing the goddess. It's about realizing that peace, that when you tap into your own masculine and feminine presence, you can start to really be the magic that you were actually born with. Yeah.
Powerful. I love it. Wow. Yeah. It's a lot to unpack there, a lot to take in. Let's feel where Kirti was coming from. The word heart, you'll hear me say this throughout Deep Breaths many times on every episode, that the word heart has the word hear in it. So let's hear her from the heart as we get ready to close out with one more question. But before that, breathing in. Let's breathe into the chest and breast and out the feet. One more like that. In and out of the feet. Young Kwan. Bubbling spring. Feel the river going out of your body, rippling through time and space. So the last one I wanted to speak to you about then, we just talked about, I love what you were saying about trends and, people being more accepted for whatever they are. I feel like all the stuff that's been coming out in Hollywood and, when people's sexuality being questioned, I'm like, it's so sad that people's sexuality can be used against them and be weaponized. That we live in a world where people have to feel like they have to hide, and that a whole organization, a governmental organization with three letters, can set up base and use that against so-called stars to keep them in line and under check. It's like, or you could just be open with your shit, but I understand why we're not.
Right.
But anyway, I say all of that, because we don't have DilSe culture. We don't have a heart-based culture.
That's right.
That accepts people no matter how they are. And so in closing out, I wanted to talk about how do we evolve love, which is one of our offerings together. So we talked about yours by yourself, and then we have evolve love.
Yeah.
What is evolve love, and how do we evolve love on this planet? What do you have to say about that?
Well, and I mean, you may say something different about what evolve love is for you, but for me, evolve love represents so much of our journey. Like relating and how we met on we were it was really nice that we were already really steeped in our spiritual paths. We both already had our practices, and that was really powerful, and we still had things to go through, right? So yeah, I feel like evolve love is the tools that we picked up along the way of exploring what different types of setups for relationship could look like, where you're decentering the concept of marriage, and you're like maybe you're decentering like women in your life, I'm decentering men in my life, and we're both recentering ourselves and looking at how does that allow us to love each other as we do that. So I think that's evolving love from the program that we've all been fed about love. That Disney program, for me, that Bollywood story, that I repeat, I worked so hard to try to get and maintain in my own unique way, right? So yeah, I think that's evolve love, and I think that as we've grown together and gotten into deeper relating together, evolve love is also it's family based. It's family systems where we are working with, not only do we work with couples, but we're also working with their families, and we're willing to help people reframe, honestly, the bad name that Tantra has gotten in the United States of America. But that the true Tantra is, it's not pornographic that we're bringing Tantra to families. Like, people are like, what? It's like, oh my gosh, no, like, not at all. It's about helping reignite the families. Like, why did all of your souls choose this pod to come through in this moment, to be your karmic paths crossed and aligned here? There's so much that we can do together, especially where we're having pattern circular arguments, and a lot of different family members are feeling like they're being put in certain positions and roles. And so sometimes it's nice to break away from some traditional talking, and not only using communication tools, but using some embodiment tools and some tantric tools of creativity and creative expression to allow families to evolve their love and really heal the ancestral line, because so many families are just playing out old shit. So if you want something different, you got to do different, and that's creativity. So we've got to bring that essence of Tantra back, and take it, not move it away from sexuality, because sexuality is a beautiful thing and it's how we all arrive, right?
Right.
But also let's dilute the pornographic brain and the hit it, quit it, wham bam, thank you ma'am, fast food attitude with sensuality
Mm.
and intimacy
Mm.
and like accessing our senses and slowing down a little bit, spending time with each other, you know, even if it's 15 to 30 minutes of connection time, you know. So these are just some practices that we work with couples, and we're excited to be doing more work with families. And that's what evolved love is to me.
I love that.
Yeah. I want to ask you what it is to you now.
Well, first I want to breathe in what you said.
Okay.
Taking one moment. So we're going to do like this. We're going to breathe in and bring your arms up like this. And then out, bring it back to your chest. So you can feel it in your breast and chest area. Good. Let's do two more like that. Breathe in. And out, bringing it back to the breast and chest area. Evolving love. In everything, in all ways, we evolve our love. Breathing in. With the family, with ourselves, with our loved ones. And out. Good. Yeah, so evolve love for me is just like what you said. Like so I have an offering now that we do a family tree gong. So family tree, and then gong means work or discipline. So family tree discipline, family tree gong, getting in there and doing the work on the on the roots so that you can have healthy branches and fruits and berries and seeds and all of that stuff and everything, leaves and stuff. But you got to have strong roots.
That's right.
And doing our family tree gong, right? And so the way I like to think of it, the way you explain it, is like the rings of a tree. The first ring is you.
That's right.
By yourself, you. And then the next tree is if you have a significant other or whatever. Then the next ring is your family, your immediate family, and then your friends, your community. So, and then the world. And we want to be a big ass sequoia. We want to be a big redwood, right? Have many, 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 many rings through time and space. But first, we got to start with that first ring. That to me is evolving love.
Right.
And doing the things to bring everything full circle and close out things is like being heart-based, and knowing that how we move through this world is medicine. You know what I mean? And that is a medicine, and that when we honor the womb, the collective womb, the feminine of all beings, not even just humans, but the feminine energy of this planet, lifting it up again, and doing that, especially with those who embody the feminine energy, the females of the planet, and then lastly, honoring ourself, the couples, the family, the community, the world, right? That is evolving love.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah. And I said that was the last question, but I have one more because it's called deep breaths. And I want you to explain, because you definitely can better than I did, but you inspired me, and the Hindu culture inspired me to use the word deep. Can you explain to the family about Diwali and deep and what it means and what that is?
Yeah, so Diwali is a holiday that we have in India where we light candles, and there's a whole story, of course, that goes with it. But there's always a story. Yeah, there's always a story for everything. But really, it's just a beautiful holiday, and a big idea is that you also, it's a time to, with the fire, you also allow yourself to transmute, to alchemize, to burn away any things that you're holding on to so that you can start new, right? So all these holidays also happen according to the lunar phases. So they also have to do with the harvest and things that we do. So a lot of our celebrations on new moon, is when you really don't see the moon in the sky. And then we also have celebrations that will be on the full moon. So Diwali is also often it's called Deepavali, and Deepa, or deep is that flame. And so what you do is you try, once you light it, you want to keep it lit, and then you let it naturally go out. But the idea is to keep those flames lit, and it can represent so many different things. But in the story, those flames were lit to light the way home. As Ram was coming home after 14 years away in the forest, to light his way back to, the kingdom, to his people. And so in a lot of ways, I feel like that represents the hero's journey in our lives. And it's like an honoring of, being willing to stretch yourself in any way. You don't have to go to the forest for 14 years, but being willing to make a courageous move, just in service, in complete service without an expectation. And that takes a lot of courage these days. And to also in service of yourself. So even creating a rites of passage or an initiation for yourself, ritualizing the moment, making things powerful for yourself. The flame always helps us remember that as we're doing that, it's always bringing us back home too. And the flame is also, the meditation of the flame is the most original meditation in the tantric path, because the flame represents the pineal gland. And when we meditate on the flame, it actually accesses a very primal part of our existence, because making fire is a human connection that we have, no matter what your religion, your ethnicity, your race, your nationality. As humans, we all have that innovative memory, cellular memory in our body of making fire. So as we meditate on fire, it reminds us of our evolving consciousness as humanity and humans. So there are so many different ways as you do a flame meditation to go deeper in that. And there's also different ways to really tune in to those places and become more embodied. But deep represents that flame. And it's deep. That it's spelled DEEP.
Right.
And so, so I use deep to remember when I do ritual, what are the things that I'm writing to burn? So I'm writing things that feel dense, that it's like it's not letting me flow, right? So I write about that. I write about things that have me emotionally feeling out of control, that might have me enraged and engaged. And I also write about things that I'm feeling in my body, what I am embodying, right? And then I also write about things that have a push and a pull. So DEEP.
DEEP. Wow, I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so the reason that I chose the word deep, so deep breaths to play on that, and fire, the fire element, it needs something to burn. It needs material. It needs something from the mother.
Yeah.
The matter, the matrix. It needs that ma, but then it also needs the air element. So for us to stoke our fire, y'all, we got to take deep breaths.
I love that. Beautiful.
And to give breath to something new. Give birth to something new.
Yeah.
And so with that, in closing out, if you can let the family know, Kirti, anything that you have going on that you want them to know about, anything that's going on in your life.
I think that check out my website, DilSeCulture.com.
I'll put that down in the link.
Yeah. And that's a great way to just check in if you'd like to keep in touch with me and just see what I'm up to.
I love that. All right, Joe. So we're going to close out with some Qigong. So we'll turn this part off. And if you can get somewhere where you can stand, or if you're driving right now or whatever, later, don't do that while hopefully you didn't try to do the Qigong either then. But pause this or whatever, but we're going to do some Qigong to close everything out. So see you in a moment. So we're going to close out with a little bit of Qigong. Qigong, again, is Chinese for breath work. Qi actually meaning breath, and gong meaning work or discipline. Chi is actually a bigger concept than just breath, but the word breath is also bigger than the concept that we really think about. To me, breath is like about vibration. Everything vibrates, so everything breathes in its own way. But we're going to close out with a little bit of Qigong, speaking into existence again, using vibe to change our vibration, our voice, our introspection, breath, and embodiment. So we're going to speak some of the things that Kirti gave us witness to. We're going to bear witness to the things that she said and speak it into existence, syncing up and having synergy with her to give birth to, give breath to these things. And so let's go ahead and get your feet planted and feel the bottoms of your feet, feel the heaviness of your body, the weight, and just relax your shoulders. And this first one that we're going to do, anytime we do deep breaths, I'm probably just going to give you 2 or 3 basic foundational Qigong moves. But these are very foundational and they can change your life. So this first one is called Harmonized Qi. And we're going to breathe in, scooping up energy from Mother Earth, Mother Heart, and bring it up to your breast and chest area. And then breathe out, push the energy back down your body. Breathe in, scooping up the energy. And out, pushing down. And should you breathe out your mouth or in your mouth, when coming out and out, you feel in your body right now. There's a science to all of that, but I don't want to limit you. So right now, on your out breath, what feels better for you, your nose or your mouth? Feel into that. Good. Breathe in. Feel the energy coming up from your feet. Feel it coming up your thighs and up your genitals, up your stomach, up to your breast and chest, and then back down your body like a waterfall. Feel it going back down your body. Good. Let's do one more like that. Breathe it in through the soles of your feet, the bubbling spring, kidney 1, up the body like a fire rising, fire element, and then back down the body, water element, cool energy, allowing that which we don't need to flow back out of us, our emotions and thoughts. All right, now we do that again, but this time we're going on the out breath. I'll speak something one time and then Kirti, you do it. So we do like a DNA helix going back and forth. So we speak into existence through time and space, having a DilSe culture, a heart-based culture in this world and in our own lives.
May we continue to be unconditional love for ourselves first and others.
Mm. Mm. May we allow the movements of our bodies to be medicine and really honoring our bodies and loving our bodies, these cells and all the things that they bring to us, enjoying this journey in our bodies. Movement medicine.
May we continue to honor the traditions and the many lineages from which we all come, as well as forge a way that is unique to who we are today.
Love it. Breathing in, feeling your feet, staying in your body. Don't get in your head, y'all. Breathe in, feeling energy coming up your body. On the out breath, we still honor the feminine. We honor the womb that makes womb for all of us to be here. And we honor the feminine in all beings, in all aspects of life. Give birth to a new reality, honoring the feminine on this planet.
We honor the idea of the unknown and that we are here to learn more.
Mm. Last one with the harmonized chi for me. We harmonize the chi, the breath, the life, the deep breaths, the light that has this spark of life that is in us. And we speak this into existence that we can have a new walk, a new life for ourselves and to spark the life in others as well. Kirti, you give us the one last one.
May we continue to evolve and transform and be willing to alchemize all that is ready to be loved.
So in closing out, let's do one different one here. You're going to scoop up energy from the ground and bring it up, crossing your arms. Still breathing in, feel the energy going up your body. And out breath. Separating the clouds, all the cloudy things, the ideas and thoughts that we have sometimes. Breathing in. I'll do one for Evolve Love, and then we'll close out with you, Kirti. So this one for me. May we evolve love for ourselves in our relationships, family, friends, our community, in this world, evolving love. So it is.
May love be the part of every evolution, everywhere.
Mm-hmm. And I lied. Let's do one more, bringing it up. And on the out breath, let's say the Yoruba word ashe, which means and so it is.
Ashe.
Yes, yes, yes. So again, thank you, family, for coming through, for deep breaths, for my guests here today. Thank you for being the first on Deep Breaths and making room for all of this with me. And again, if you were feeling Kirti and you want to go deeper into some of her offerings and everything, her link is down below to check out. And if you want to reach out to me, my stuff is going to be down there too. We do work together. I have a workshop coming out the 27th of this month, authoritative breath. So if you like this and you want to speak into existence, use your breath to give birth to something new, then check the link below. Again, thank your family for coming through. We appreciate you. And keep that deep breath in your life. Keep giving breath to something new.